power, corruption, deception. The Watergate Scandal is the most infamous political conspiracy in American history, a shocking web of illegal activity, cover-ups, and betrayal that led to the downfall of a United States president. But how did a simple burglary lead to Richard Nixon's resignation? And what dark secrets did the investigation uncover? Today, we take a deep dive into the Watergate Scandal, unraveling the truth behind the lies that shook the nation. The early 1970s was a turbulent time in the United States. The Vietnam War had divided the nation, the civil rights movement was still reshaping society, and public trust in the government was beginning to wane. Richard Nixon, the 37th President of the United States, had just been re-elected in 1972 in a landslide victory. But behind the scenes, a darker story was unfolding, one that would forever change American politics. As tensions rose between the Republican and Democratic parties, Nixon and his administration became obsessed with maintaining power. Political espionage wasn't unheard of, but Nixon's team took things to an entirely new level. What started as political maneuvering would soon spiral into one of the biggest scandals in United States history. On June 17, 1972, 5 men were caught breaking into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. At first, it seemed like a standard burglary, but investigators soon discovered that the men had ties to Nixon's re-election campaign and were attempting to wiretap phones and steal confidential documents. The break-in was no ordinary crime. It was an act of political espionage ordered at the highest levels. As the investigation deepened, connections to Nixon's administration became undeniable. The burglars had received payments from the campaign, and efforts to cover up the break-in quickly unraveled. But rather than coming clean, the Nixon administration did what it did best: deny, deflect, and deceive. The true scandal wasn't just the break-in itself, it was the elaborate attempt to cover it up. Nixon and his team scrambled to silence the investigation, using government agencies like the FBI, CIA, and even the Justice Department to obstruct justice. Money was funneled to the burglars to keep them quiet, and officials were pressured to stop digging deeper. But the truth has a way of coming out. 2 investigative reporters from the Washington Post, Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, began uncovering alarming details with the help of an anonymous informant known as Deep Throat. Their reporting, along with growing suspicions from Congress, led to a full-scale investigation into Nixon's involvement. As more evidence emerged, the walls started closing in around the president. Then came the final blow, one that would seal Nixon's fate forever. It was revealed that the White House had a secret recording system capturing conversations between Nixon and his aides. Subpoenas were issued to release the tapes, but Nixon refused, citing executive privilege. However, after a legal battle, the Supreme Court ruled that Nixon had to hand them over. When the tapes were finally released, they contained undeniable proof that Nixon had ordered the cover-up. The so-called smoking gun tape recorded Nixon discussing how to use the CIA to block the FBI's investigation. This was direct evidence of obstruction of justice, and it shattered what little defense Nixon had left. With impeachment looming and bipartisan pressure mounting, Nixon faced an impossible choice: stay and fight, or resign in disgrace. On August 8, 1974, Richard Nixon addressed the nation and became the first U.S. president to resign from office. His successor, Gerald Ford, later granted him a full pardon, preventing any further legal consequences. The Watergate scandal remains one of the darkest moments in American political history. It shattered the public's trust in government and led to major reforms, including new campaign finance laws and increased transparency measures to prevent similar abuses of power. But the question remains, could something like this happen again? Watergate wasn't just a scandal, it was a warning. It exposed the dangers of unchecked political power and the lengths some will go to maintain control. It reminded the world that the truth cannot be buried forever, no matter how hard those in power may try. What do you think? Could another Watergate happen in today's world? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another revelation. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and always question the official story.